What if what if the single most impactful inheritance you will ever receive isn't a bank account, but like the hidden mindset about money your parents whispered to you when you were a kid?
Oh man, that is a chilling thought. I mean, just the idea that before you even had your first piggy bank, your entire financial trajectory might have already been set
Right.
just by casual dinner table conversations.
Right. It is wild. And honestly, that is exactly the anxiety being weaponized on this single fascinating image we are looking at today. Welcome to our deep dive, everyone. I am your host, and today I am sitting down with our resident expert to deconstruct something really special.
Hey everyone, so glad to be here. And yeah, today we are digging into something that is just, it's visually and psychologically packed.
Totally. We are analyzing the cover of the Turkish edition of a massive global phenomenon. The book is Rich Dad, Poor Dad, authored by Robert Kiyosaki and Sharon Lechter.
Yeah, published by ALFA in Turkey, whereas known as Zengin Baba Yoksol Baba. And, our mission today isn't to just summarize the chapters.
No, definitely not. We are deconstructing the sheer density of the messaging packed into literally just the title and the subtitle of this New York Times bestseller.
Because when you really look at this specific cover, you realize the entire framework of wealth, parenting, and like class division is promised to the reader before they even flip to page one.
Exactly. And I want to ask you, the listener, right now, just take a second and think about it. What are the very first lessons you remember learning about money?
Oh, that is a great question. Because for a lot of us, it was probably something like, money doesn't grow on trees.
Yes. Or save your pennies for a rainy day.
Right, right. And it's that exact psychological programming that this cover functions as a masterclass on. It's a masterclass in societal observation.
It really is. Just the physical design of the Turkish cover sets the stage for this, like, profound cognitive dissonance.
Yeah, you have this deep, almost royal purple background. And then faintly, looming behind the text, is this massive symbol.
It looks like a stylized currency sign, right? Like a dollar sign blending into the shadows.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It is subtle, but it casts this really heavy shadow over everything else on the page.
So let's focus on that main title. Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Before we even get to the concept of money, we have to talk about the word dad.
Oh, absolutely.
Because, I mean, why not call it rich investor, poor investor,
Yeah.
or the wealthy economist and the broke employee?
Right, because that sounds like a textbook.
Exactly. Using parental figures, it feels like comparing two different foundational operating systems that were just like installed in your brain at birth.
I love that analogy,
Mm,
the operating systems. Because one dad is basically installing the software program for financial growth.
right. Understanding risk, navigating the world with a sense of abundance.
Yeah. And the other dad, he is installing a system stuck permanently in safe mode. Don't take risks, just survive, keep your head down.
Just get a safe job. Framing macroeconomics through parental figures is honestly a stroke of narrative brilliance.
It really is.
Yeah.
Because economics is historically an incredibly dry subject, right? I mean, it consists of graphs, interest rates, inflation metrics.
Things that make normal people just want to take a nap.
Totally. Most people completely glaze over when confronted with those concepts.
Mm.
But by replacing abstract economic theories with two dads, the authors immediately personalize financial literacy.
You bring it right into the living room.
Exactly. By placing these complex financial concepts into the family dynamic, you bypass the reader's intellectual defenses. You're no longer critiquing their math. You're probing their childhood.
Wow. Yeah, it brings the concept of financial success down to those intimate, highly emotional conversations happening around the dinner table. Because a parent is supposed to be your ultimate protector.
And that is the core psychological hook right there. If the title implies that one of these guides is inherently flawed in their understanding of the world like the poor dad.
It challenges the reader to question their own foundational programming.
Exactly. Subconsciously, the reader is forced to ask, wait, did the person who loved me most inadvertently set me up for financial failure?
Which is such a painful thought. And those phrases we mentioned earlier, like money doesn't grow on trees, those are the absolute hallmark of safe mode programming.
They really are. And the visual representation of this duality on the Turkish cover, it just reinforces that programming before you even read a single word.
Oh, the typography. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, so the word zengin, which is rich, is written in this elegant, flowing golden script.
Right. It looks fluid, dynamic, and like really expansive.
But then right below it, Yoksel Baba, the poor dad part, is written in stark, rigid white serif letters.
It looks boxed in, completely constrained.
Yeah. And the human brain processes that visual contrast instantly. The limitless feel of the gold script versus the boxed-in white letters.
It tells a whole story of fluid growth versus rigid constraint. But here is where the cover moves from just personal psychology to like a massive societal critique.
Oh, this is the best part.
Right. The title sets up a contrast between two specific individuals, but then your eyes move down to the subtitle, and suddenly this contrast expands to encompass entire segments of global society.
Yeah, the subtitle in this ALFA edition is so bold. In Turkish, it asks what the rich teach their children about money, unlike the poor and middle class.
It is an incredibly provocative statement to place right on the front cover of a book.
It is, just lumping those two classes together.
But wait, I have to push back hard on this because I understand contrasting the rich and the poor, right? That is a tale as old as time.
Sure.
But mechanistically, a middle-class person with a 401k is actively investing in the market. They usually have a mortgage, maybe some mutual funds, a reliable car. They take a vacation every year.
Right, they look successful.
Exactly. They are not living paycheck to paycheck in absolute poverty. So isn't lumping them in with the poor just, I don't know, a manipulative marketing exaggeration designed to sell books?
I mean, it definitely seems that way at first glance. Until you look at the underlying mechanics of their cash flow, which is the entire premise the cover is hinting at.
Okay, unpack that for me.
So by grouping the middle class with the poor, the cover is making this massive controversial claim that the middle class suffers from a profound financial illusion.
An illusion.
Yeah. The implication is that middle class stability is built on the exact same flawed financial paradigm as poverty.
Which is what? Exactly.
Creating their time for a paycheck. They might have nicer cars or bigger houses, but the underlying mechanism of how they acquire money is identical.
Oh, I see. So the argument is that because they are still trading time for money, they are fundamentally in the same economic category as someone making minimum wage, just at a higher tax bracket.
Correct. The middle class focuses heavily on preservation and comfort, whereas the wealthy focus on leverage. Let's look at the financial literacy basics that this subtitle is teasing.
Yeah, let's get into the mechanics of that.
The fundamental difference lies in how these classes define assets and liabilities. The middle-class parent teaches their child that their primary residence, their house, is their biggest asset.
Right, that is like the classic American dream, or global dream, really. Get a house.
Exactly. But they take on massive debt to buy it, and it constantly takes money out of their pocket in taxes, maintenance, and interest.
Ah. And how does the rich dad paradigm view it?
The rich dad paradigm defines an asset strictly as something that puts money into your pocket, regardless of whether you work that day.
Meaning passive income streams.
Yes, exactly.
Like dividends, real estate that generates rent, businesses that run without your daily labor, things that make money while you sleep.
Precisely the difference. The cover implies that the middle class is spending all their energy acquiring liabilities that they falsely believe are assets.
Wow. So true wealth requires a completely different paradigm from the standard societal script of get a good job, work hard, and save.
Yeah, that script is essentially broken, according to this framework.
That is a total gut punch to the target demographic of this book. I mean, imagine you are a middle-class reader looking at this cover in a bookstore in Istanbul.
Right.
It essentially tells you, you think you are doing the right things, but you are playing the wrong game entirely.
It creates immense psychological tension.
You aren't halfway to being rich. You are just a well-dressed version of poor, at least in terms of your financial operating system.
Yeah, it forces the reader to confront their own assumptions. It leverages the concept of systemic knowledge gaps.
And by explicitly framing financial success not as a matter of luck or sheer brute force hard work, it frames wealth as an educational inheritance.
Yes, the education piece is key. Let's talk about how that knowledge is transferred.
Right, because the second half of that subtitle asks, what do the rich teach their children about money? It implies there is this hidden curriculum.
A hidden curriculum, I like that.
I think of it like a VIP lounge at a busy international airport.
Right.
Everyone else is in the main terminal.
Oh, this is a great way to look at it.
They are stressed, dealing with the standard system, waiting in long lines, eating overpriced food.
And that main terminal is the standard education system.
Exactly. Go to school, get good grades, get a job, save part of your salary. Most of society operates in that public terminal.
But the wealthy, they are sitting behind a frosted glass door in the VIP lounge.
Yes. The cover implies the wealthy know exactly how to access that lounge. The rules are entirely different in there. The food is free, the seats are comfortable, the stress is gone.
But you need a specific pass to get in.
And the wealthy aren't keeping this past to themselves, they are explicitly handing it down to their kids.
So if your parents didn't have the pass, you were stuck in the main terminal, completely blind to the fact that the VIP lounge even exists.
That hidden curriculum of wealth, it is fascinating.
It challenges the reader to accept a rather uncomfortable truth about society, which is that standard public schools entirely fail to teach financial literacy.
They really do. They teach you how to be an obedient employee.
Right. The public system teaches you how to follow instructions and trade your time for a wage. It does not teach you how to build wealth.
Or how to manage risk, or how to generate passive income.
Exactly. Therefore, by default, the parent becomes the ultimate and perhaps only financial educator a child will ever have.
That completely reframes the stakes of reading this book. If you are holding this book, you suddenly feel this urgent, visceral need.
You realize, wait, there's a curriculum I missed. There are lessons being taught in wealthy households that I am entirely blind to.
Right. The realization that there is a hidden curriculum triggers this profound sense of loss.
It creates FOMO, the fear of missing out, but on a massive generational scale.
Because humans despise knowledge gaps, don't we?
We really do. When we realize there is a secret we aren't in on, especially a secret that dictates our survival, our comfort, and our kids' futures, we are biologically compelled to close that gap.
The middle-class reader feels a sense of loss for an education they never even knew existed. They realize they've been focusing their entire lives on preservation.
Yeah, like saving money in a bank account where inflation just slowly eats it away.
While the wealthy have been teaching their kids leverage, they teach their kids how to make money work for them rather than working for money.
This brings us to a major psychological barrier to investing that the middle class faces, one that the Rich Dad framework really dismantles.
Which is?
The middle class is taught to avoid risk at all costs. Don't invest in the stock market, it's too risky, put your money in a savings account.
Right, play it safe.
But in a fiat currency system with constant inflation, holding cash is actually a guaranteed loss of purchasing power over time.
Wow. Yeah.
So the rich teach their kids that avoiding all risk is actually the most dangerous financial move you can make. They teach them how to manage risk, how to read financial statements.
How to spot opportunities that the middle class is just too terrified to touch.
Exactly. Which explains why this specific message exploded in popularity around the world. It taps into a universal pain point.
But here's the puzzle for me. If you tell an entire middle-class society that their foundational beliefs are a lie, that their parents taught them the wrong things, they usually get highly defensive.
Oh, of course. Nobody likes hearing that.
Right. People don't like being told their dad gave them bad advice. So how did this book get millions of people to lower their defenses and open their wallets instead?
That is where the visual psychology of the publisher's credibility markers comes into play.
Okay, tell me about that.
Well, if you look at the top right of the Turkish cover, there is a bold, jagged yellow sticker graphic. It says New York Times bestseller.
Yeah, I see that.
And below the subtitle, you have the prominent logo of the publisher, ALFA, which is a trusted name in Turkish publishing. Plus, the authors' names are displayed with total authority.
But why does a reader in Turkey care about a New York Times bestseller sticker? The economic realities of New York are completely different from the economic realities of Istanbul.
It relies on the behavioral economics principle of social proof.
Okay, social proof.
When an individual is confronted with a message that challenges their core beliefs, their immediate instinct is to reject the message to protect their ego.
Like a defense mechanism.
Right. But the New York Times bestseller badge acts as a psychological shield against that initial skepticism. It tells the prospective reader, hey, you might feel defensive reading this, but millions of people globally have already validated this truth.
It provides permission to engage with controversial ideas, like saying, don't shoot the messenger, everyone else already agrees, this is the secret.
Exactly. Furthermore, it globalizes the financial anxiety.
How so?
The fact that this specific cover, with the specific blunt phrasing, resonated enough to be translated and published by ALFA for a Turkish audience, proves something profound.
That it's not just an American problem.
Yes. Financial anxiety and that deep, visceral desire to properly equip one's children for the future, it is not a localized phenomenon. It is a universal human condition.
It transcends borders entirely. Whether you are browsing a sprawling bookstore in New York or walking past a bookstand in Istanbul, seeing the bright purple and gold, that anxiety hits the exact same chord.
It taps into a collective hunger for the missing curriculum.
It tells the reader that the feeling of financial suffocation isn't their personal failing, it is a systemic failure of their education.
Millions of people who picked up this bestseller did so because they recognized a gap in their own knowledge.
They looked at their lives, looked at their bank accounts, and just realized that the safe mode operating system their parents gave them was fundamentally ill-equipped for the modern financial reality.
Exactly. They realized that working harder at a middle-class job was not going to result in true financial independence.
They realized they were stuck in the public terminal of that airport, and they desperately wanted the pass to the VIP lounge.
Not just for themselves, but so they wouldn't pass the wrong financial map down to their own kids.
Right, the stakes are generational. It is about breaking a cycle of financial illiteracy.
And the ultimate promise of the cover is not a quick stock tip. It does not promise you a list of hot crypto coins to buy.
No, it is way deeper than that.
It promises you a complete paradigm shift. It promises to rewire your brain to understand the difference between an asset and a liability.
To understand how to build passive income streams and to understand how the wealthy actually manage risk instead of just running away from it.
It promises a new operating system.
Let's bring this all together. We started with just a single image, the cover of Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Yeah.
And from the typography, the deliberate use of the word dad, and that incredibly provocative subtitle lumping the middle class in with the poor, we've unpacked a massive, comprehensive worldview.
We really have. We have observed how wealth is framed here, not merely as a measurement of income or the current size of a bank account.
It is so much more than that.
Wealth is framed as a deliberate, inherited educational framework. A framework that the authors boldly claim diverges completely and utterly from the middle-class norms we are all taught to aspire to.
It is the shift from teaching financial preservation to teaching financial leverage.
Exactly. It is the stark difference between the rigid, boxed-in white text of the Poor Dad and the flowing, limitless gold text of the Rich Dad.
The difference between just surviving in a constant state of anxiety and truly understanding the mechanics of how the financial game is played.
And the cover's final triumph is making you realize that the most important lessons of this game are taught at home.
At the dinner table.
Right. Long before a child ever sets foot in a classroom.
So as we wrap up this deep dive today, we want to leave you, our listener, with a question, a thought to chew on as you go about the rest of your day, maybe while you are commuting or making dinner.
We've established that the main argument here is that the financial gap is truly an education gap, passed down from parent to child.
The wealthy teach leverage. The middle class teaches preservation. So what is one safe middle class assumption about money that you are holding on to right now?
Something you have never questioned because it's just, how things are done.
What is that one assumption you might need to completely unlearn before you accidentally pass it on to the next generation?
I think it is time to check which operating system is currently running your life.
And whether it is leading you toward true freedom or just a more comfortable cage.
Beautifully said.
Keep questioning the curriculum you were handed. Until next time, keep diving deep.